Hello again, everybody. That was unusual. I don't know what happened to my internet or Wi-Fi, but everything just died. The live stream just flat out died. Paused for a sec and then that was it. Well, that was really, really frustrating. I'll give a second here for everyone to join again, but I don't know what just happened there. Luckily, we were only on question one and not deep into it, or that would have been tragic. Jeez. It's raining outside but there's no wind. I don't know why. I'm looking at my router right now to see if something weird's happening. There's some unique blinking lights on it, but hopefully it's okay. Let me check the Wi-Fi on my desktop. What are we on here? Okay. Weird. Really weird. You know, where I live, not to digress, where I live here in Washington State, there's some, they're not mountains, there's some small hills, if you will, in the area. And they cause some very odd winds where I live. We get some really strong winds. And so we are prone to losing power during storms here more frequently than most other places that I've lived. And while it's raining out, I'm looking at the trees, it's not windy at all. So very odd. Okay. Don't know why that happened. Let's just kick it right off again and hope that it doesn't happen again. Alright, here we go. So strange. Very annoying. Alright, here's the editing thing. Hello everybody, welcome to the Ask Me Anything for the CrossFit Linchpin private track. Today is April 30th. It's a Friday. We normally do these on a Thursday, but yesterday life happened, so we bumped to 24 hours. This is take two. I don't know what happened, but my internet just crashed a second ago, killed the live feed, and just almost ruined my morning. But we're back. Here we go. Luckily, we were only on question one, about 2 or 3 minutes into it, so I don't have a lot to make up. So here we go. First question, which was simple and fast to answer, so I'll do it again, was from Justin H. What are the sticky notes on the back wall of your office? Which you can't see in this video, but you can see in the daily videos that I attach to the private track. I'm going to be vague about them. They are me organizing my thoughts for something that I'm creating that ideally will be of benefit to the CrossFit community. And I'm working on it on my computer, but laying out all the different sections in some sort of visual representation on the wall that I can take a step back, take it all in at once and see if something should be moved around is just a useful thing to do. So that's what those are. Sorry that's still a bit vague, but you'll learn about them eventually. And part two of Justin's question, are you doing any of the programming for the CrossFit Games age groups this year like you have in the past? No, I'm not this year. It's been a blast previously when I have done that, but that will be in somebody else's capable hands. I'm sure it will be fantastic, whatever it is. Question number two. Here's where the video got cut off previously. From Chris W. Great question. Love the question. He's been asking it for several weeks. It didn't get upvoted, even though I wanted it to. Finally, it has been upvoted, and we shall answer it. Chris says, back again with my pull-up question. What do you think about butterfly kipping pull-ups for regular athletes? I can do 15 strict pull-ups. I can do more than 20 C-kip pull-ups or gymnastics kip style pull-ups, and I feel comfortable with them. But when I do butterfly kip, my shoulder makes a funny clicking sound. It doesn't hurt, but it puts me off a little bit out of fear that maybe I might damage something. What do you think? Are they perfectly safe and I'm doing them wrong? Or is the reward of faster pull-ups not worth the risk for regular athletes? Excellent question. So, first of all, and you covered it, Chris, and I love the fact that you did, regardless of whether you're doing any various style of kipping pull-up, C-kip, the gymnastic style, kipping pull-up, a butterfly kip, some crazy kip that's developed tomorrow, you've got to develop strict pull-up strength first. You mentioned that you can do a set of 15 strict pull-ups. That's phenomenal. That's an excellent set of strict pull-ups. So I'm totally good to go with that baseline level of strength that you have of you exploring some various kipping options. If you don't have a strict pull-up yet, go to the CrossFit Linchpin YouTube channel. We've got at least 2 videos on how to get a pull-up, and then of course as part of your subscription to the private track, you get Beyond the Whiteboard access, and Beyond the Whiteboard, under one of their specialty programs, has a fantastic laid out program to help get you your first strict pull-up. So do that first. So now, assuming that you do, let's get back to the heart of the question. If I could only do one of those two pull-ups for the rest of my time on this planet, the C-style, C-kip, the classic gymnastics kip, or the butterfly pull-up, I would not do the butterfly pull-up. I would do the gymnastic style C-kip pull-up, even though it is a slower pull-up and a slower cycle rate. And I wouldn't necessarily make that decision out of saying that one is quote-unquote safer than the other. I'm completely of the opinion, just like everything else, if you learn how to do them, you do them properly, with excellent technique, you maintain tension the entire time, both can be done beautifully well in a safe way that you'll be happy for a very, very long time. The reason that I would choose, in the overwhelming majority of my workouts, I do the C-style kip, is I personally, I train for life. It's not just a cliche. I train for life. I'm not training to walk out onto some competition floor and edge somebody out next to me in the next lane by 11 seconds on a workout. That is of little regard to me. I want to do things that will make me ideally more capable on planet Earth and obstacles that I may face. And in my opinion, especially from way back in the military days, like having done a lot of obstacle courses which involve surmounting, getting up and over walls, through windows, things like that, climbing an obstacle, getting yourself to the other side. Strict pulling capacity is incredibly important in situations like that, but any single time that you can use a little bit of oomph, use a little bit of momentum, use something resembling a kip to help get yourself over that wall, over that fence, over that whatever it happened to be that you're trying to pull your body up and over. Although not a perfect representation, that movement certainly looks a whole heck of a lot more like a gymnastic-style kipping movement than a butterfly kipping movement. And so, as my default, as training for real life, I love capacity at the gymnastic style. I can do both. I've done both. I've got butterfly pull-ups in my ability set if I need to use them for whatever reason, but I do the gymnastic style. That's just my 2 cents. If you've got good technique at both, feel free to do whichever one you want. But I would make sure that you know how to do both, because here's an interesting deal. If you're going for like a max set of pull-ups, like let's say you're going to get on a bar, you're going to do strict pull-ups, you're going to max out, and then when you don't have any more strict pull-ups, you can kip to get a few more reps. Most people, especially under extreme fatigue, when they need to get a little bit more work done, don't default to a butterfly style kip. They default to the gymnastics kip. It just seems to work better, seems to be able to elicit a bit more power even under fatigue. And what I have found interesting is I've seen athletes that if they're doing a big set of butterfly pull-ups, okay, they have the capacity to do butterfly pull-ups. When the butterfly pull-up starts to fatigue and go away, they can get a few more at the very end if they have to with the gymnastic style kip. It always seems like it's just there when you need it. But the opposite is not true. When somebody is just full of fatigue at the end and has to get a few more, no one seems to default to the butterfly kip. What's also an interesting observation is, I think again because of competition, people have seen their athletes, their heroes, doing the butterfly style, and they've gone right from strict pull-ups, or heaven forbid, they never even learned strict pull-ups and just decided to go right to butterfly pull-ups for some reason. And they never learned the gymnastics kip. They never learned the C-kip. And now they don't have that in their skill set for when those butterfly pull-ups go away. Even though they probably could get a few more reps with the old style gymnastics kip, they just have to hop off the bar because they never even learned that original kip. They just started with the butterfly. So if you can learn all of them, hey, more skills is a fantastic thing to do. more tools in the tool chest, right? But I would say embrace strict pull-ups. And then for me personally, the overwhelming majority of the time, I'm a gymnastic-style C-kip individual, even though it is a bit slower. Now, if your thing is competition and it's prize money and winning and leaderboard and every single little thing you can do to confer an advantage is going to add up to where you place in the leaderboard, then you will always be slower if you're doing the gymnastic style kip, if your competitor is doing the butterfly style kip. So in that situation, you darn well better know how to do it, because I guarantee your competitor will. So that is what I would say about that. So Chris, I'm glad that question finally was able to get upvoted and answered. All right, on to the next. I clicked on it. Why did it not open? Okay, here we go. Ooh, a good one. If I had a nickel for every time this question got asked, out of just pure curiosity or because people are just amazed that it's happening, I would have a lot of nickels. It would be fantastic. This is from Philip I. When I belonged to a physical gym, every class started with a strength portion. We know where this tale's going, don't we? At Linchpin, we only have one quote-unquote heavy day a week, yet my major lifts are still getting stronger. How is this possible? Ah, Philip, yes, this question, this is the question. It's so funny. This is always everyone's fear, too, right? The fear is, we're not lifting heavy every day. All my lifts are going to go away. I'm going to become weak. And everyone has the opposite experience. We lift not every day. We have about one dedicated heavy day a week. And sometimes sprinkled into the week, there'll be a heavy day at a high heart rate. But everyone's lifts, they go up. It boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, it does make perfect sense. If we understand programming, if we understand how the human body develops, and if we understand the needs of most people in society and what truly gets people fitter, faster, and stronger, again, just beating a dead horse, so many athletes and gyms, sadly, in my opinion, have fallen into the more is better trap, and it's tragic, and it's not doing their clients and their members any benefit. It's doing them a disservice. And again, I love competition as much as the next individual, but I think there is a instinct, a tendency to look at one's heroes in any sport. If you love basketball, if you love racing, if you love whatever, I look up to so-and-so. What do they do? I want to be like them. I'm going to do what they do. And in the CrossFit space, people look up to their CrossFit Games heroes, and they want to mimic what they do. That's a terrible idea. Most people should not do that. Yes, we're doing CrossFit. Yes, CrossFit Games athletes are doing CrossFit. The needs are wildly different. The capabilities are wildly different. The recovery is wildly different. The tools at their disposal are wildly different. Doesn't mean you should do what they do. And I think sadly a lot of gyms and athletes have just started doing it, and it does not yield the payoff that people hope. And so getting back to Philip's question, all right, let's see. So we lift one dedicated heavy day a week. And there's probably a heavy day at a high heart rate snuck in there as well. And Philip's curious, how is this possible? He used to lift heavy every single day, at the beginning of class before the workout. And now he doesn't do that, but his lifts are going up. So let's just discuss what has to happen when you respect the heavy days. You do the heavy days like we do at CrossFit Linchpin. And just how it is done in classic CrossFit methodology, and that's why we do it, because it works. I can't take any credit for inventing this. We're just doing what works. You walk in, you got an hour-long class, right? You've got an hour in your garage. You've got needs of the family and all this stuff. You do a 10-minute general warm-up, okay? Could be a little less, could be a little more. Let's call it 10 minutes. Head to toe, full range of motion, get the heart rate going, get the blood pumping, wake the body up, say, hey, guess what? We're going to work out, body. We're going to do something. 10 minutes of that. Then, Let's say we've got a 5x5 back squat on the docket. Let's give ourselves 10 to 12 minutes to now that our body's, loosened up, ready to go, we're going to give ourselves 10 to 12 minutes to build up our warm-up sets so that we can actually do the 5x5 back squat. Start building up some loading, get below parallel, take a rest for a minute or two, put a little more weight on you, do a few more reps. 10 to 12 minutes to build up, because you're not just ready to bang, jump into that first heavy set of 5. If you are, you're a mutant. Fantastic. I look forward to, seeing you on television. And if you are ready to just jump into it, it's probably not that heavy, because your body's not ready to do it, your central nervous system's not ready to do it, you haven't built up to it, so you're probably not really going actually truly heavy if you've just rushed and thrown some weight on the bar. So you're not really doing a heavy day, even if you did it every day. So we've taken 10 to 12 minutes, we've built up our warm-up sets, and now we're actually getting into a neighborhood that, things are heavy. Like when I approach the bar for my first 5x5 back squat, I'm a little nervous. Not nervous because it's unsafe, not nervous relating to anything technique, nervous because I know this weight, I gotta work. We're about to go for it here at the bar. I can get it, but I'm gonna have to work. Now we're really going heavy. We're truly doing it. 5x5 back squat. To really get the adaptation that you are supposed to do, to really go heavy every single set, physiologically speaking, for most human beings, that's not something that you do resting a minute between each set, resting a minute between those 5x5 back squats, nor is it a 2-minute rest. It's generally going to be a 3 to 5 minute rest between every single set of 5x5 back squat. So let's just call it a 4-minute rest between every one of those 5x5 back squats. And then let's say you getting under the bar, unracking it, doing your 5, getting back in, you high-five some friends, you get some chalk. That ballpark takes a minute, okay? So each time you touch the bar, mess around a bit, that's a minute. You have 4 minutes of rest between every one of those 5x5 back squats. Well, to do that perfectly, right, that's 21 minutes of work right there, if you just stuck to that beautiful schedule. If you took 5 minutes of rest between each, add more time to that, but we split the difference, 4 minutes. That's 21 minutes of work. Well, with our 10-minute general warm-up, with our 12 minutes to let ourselves warm up the back squat and build towards our first working sets, that's 22 minutes, the general warm-up plus the warm-up sets. We had 21 minutes under the barbell. We're now at 43 minutes into a 1-hour class, if we perfectly stuck to that schedule. Well, if you're running a 1-hour class and running it well, you're 43 minutes in, you got about 15 minutes left. That's just enough time to put the plates away, to put the barbell away, to get in a cool down, to stretch, and to go home. It takes the entire hour. So as I've asked before, how in the world are you lifting heavy every day and then doing something after it? I would say that you're not really lifting heavy. You're doing it frequently, but you're not doing it in a way that pours your heart and soul into it, that gives it the time that it deserves between lifts, that gives it the warm-up needed to properly prime your body to lift heavy, and then allows it just to take and not cram anything else into that hour. Lifting heavy, it is critically important, and that's why we respect those heavy days, and they take time. So instead of doing it every day in a mediocre fashion, well, then you're going to get mediocre results. We do it not every day, and then when we do it right, with the time needed, the rest needed, so you can get the intensity and the loading needed. And then good stuff happens when you give it the time and respect that it deserves. That was on a 5x5 day. Let's say there's 2 more sets that you have to do. What if it's a 7x1 day? Well, now you've still got the 10-minute general warm-up, the 12-minute to build up to whatever, if it's a 7x1 deadlift, And now if on that 7x1 day, you still got a minute playing around with the bar every now and then, getting chalk, blah, 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 get your weight belt off and on. Then you have 4 minutes rest between each one of those sets. Well, now that class takes 53 minutes out of the 60 minutes. Now leaving you barely enough time on a 7x1 day to put those weights away, get in a quick stretch, go home. It takes the entire hour, and it could be very easy on a heavy day to want more than an hour. So again, it begs the question, how in the world is somebody lifting heavy every day during a 1 hour class that they're going to try to stick something else in there? You're going to do multiple things in a mediocre fashion instead of one thing really well. And that's just not how we roll. We do one thing, we do it really well, and, Philip, your experience is the same as countless other people that have, come over to CrossFit Linchpin, which is, wow, I don't lift heavy as frequently as I'm used to, yet everything's still improving. And it is my hope that eventually this catches on to more athletes, more gyms, or whatnot, because I don't think cramming so much into a 1 hour class is ideal for most people. It's not delivering the goods, it's not getting them as fitter, faster, and stronger as doing something else would, but it's a really hard mindset for most folks, right? Because if most people aren't getting, let's just use, we're talking about heavy days, if they're not getting stronger, all right, let's say they're lifting every day, like I just said, some quick, rushed, not great session before another workout that they're going to do in a 1 hour class, and they're not getting as strong as they want. Well, most people, if they're not getting the result that they want, think what? I'm not putting in enough work. I'm not working hard enough. I need to do more. It's a very rare individual that would be in that situation, find themselves doing something every day, not achieving what they want, and then take a step back and say, you know what? I'm doing this every day. I'm not achieving what I want to achieve. I think I need to do less. I need to do it less frequently. Most people don't follow the breadcrumbs to that conclusion, but that is the proper answer, which again is why we have these conversations and whatnot, and that's why you're experiencing good things, Philip, quite frankly. And there's even, everything's a potential rabbit hole. There's even a bit more, right? I mean, there's the wonderful thing of variance. The body is one piece. We say this all the time. So maybe we don't deadlift heavy every week or even every other week. But then when the deadlift heavy day comes up, you deadlifted more weight. And it's confusing to folks. And I get that. But everything else that we've done between that current heavy deadlift session and the previous one, it helped you. Even if it didn't look like a heavy deadlift, because the body's one piece. We train the body one piece with these compound multi-joint movements, high power producing movements, with the intentional design of the variance and the time domains, the rep range, interval days, rest days, the whole 9 yards, so that your body is always advancing. And so what do we need to do to increase your deadlift, for example? Well, we need to strengthen your glutes, your hamstrings, your spinal erectors, your quads, your abdominals, your back. I mean, you name it. The deadlift strengthens those, but what else could we do to strengthen those muscles? Darn near everything that we do all the time. And that's the wonderful magic of variance, is instead of just hammering the deadlift every day, we'll strengthen those same muscles in a whole bunch of different ways that get the athlete out of their comfort zone, be it through rep range, gymnastics movements, the whole 9 yards, sprinting, that now the structure, the human body, is a better, more capable structure. And by you giving yourself and actually experiencing that variance and not avoiding stuff and living in a little bubble of just doing what you like, the human body thrives with variance and intensity. And now when we get back to the deadlift, we get back to the back squat, whatever it happens to be, you perform better. And you're in the right mindset and physical ability because you're rested, not overtrained, to perform well. So everything that we do every day, it doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen through happenstance or coincidence. I mean, it is all a very deliberately laid out and choreographed training routine to have exactly what you're talking about happen, Philip. And the same thing should be happening with your body weight movements and your running and mixed modality training, the whole 9 yards. So, yes, but man, wish I had a nickel, I tell you what. Okay. That question, I get that question, I should get it tattooed on my chest. All right, here we go. Number 4. From Luis V. Murph is coming, and I live and train in an apartment. What is your opinion on doing rowing, Murph? Rowing a 2K instead of the 1 mile run. And as the follow-up question, since Murph is done with a vest, should I row with the vest on? Okay. Luis, we've got you covered. Let's see, let me just get my thoughts here. So, if you have to do rowing, Murph, because you can't run, good to go. Absolutely good to go. Go ahead and do a 2K to start and finish. Fitness will be achieved. You won't be shortchanged. As a matter of fact, rowing is just going to provide a lot more interference, quite frankly, with the gymnastics movements that you have to do in the middle of Murph, and it's going to fatigue some muscle groups that running wouldn't to such a degree, and make the pull-ups, push-ups, and air squats even more challenging. So you're certainly not going to be shortchanged by rowing if you choose to go that route or have to go that route. So absolutely good to go. The vest on the rower, it's not going to be as impactful wearing a vest on a rower as it would be running, just because since the rower is seated, and to a large degree you're not really supporting your body weight kind of in the same way that you would running, the vest isn't going to quite be it won't provide the same challenge that it would running. However, just having the vest on, it's restrictive a little bit, it's uncomfortable. I mean, so there are some benefits from that regard if you wanted to row with the vest on, of just, dealing with some discomfort, dealing with a bit of adversity and variance certainly has its benefits there. And if you wanted to do it just to establish it as a rowing Murph benchmark in which you just kept the vest on the entire time, as you would during classic RX Murph, totally good to go. I think that's solid. All right. Final question is from Whitney M. This may have been covered before, but what are your thoughts on using weight belts, knee sleeves, etc.? Whitney, good question. And you're right, this was covered previously in detail, so if you want to go back and listen to that one, it was Linchpin Conversations number 137. So check that out, 137. And so since you can dive into that, I'll just give a brief little chit-chat. So weight belts and knee sleeves, got no drama with them. Fantastic, they're useful tools. But just don't let them be a crutch. They are useful tools. Let me repeat that again. And I said don't let them be a useful crutch because it's also beneficial just to identify need versus want, right? And I think there are some people wearing some gear just because they want to, not necessarily because they need to, and they may not even know how to properly use the gear. And so what I mean by that is, weight belts serve a purpose, but they're not magic, meaning just because somebody puts on a weight belt in no way, shape, or form means that their back is now safer for deadlift or squatting, for example. It is a tool, and you still need to understand how to use the tool in order to make it effective. So whether you're deadlifting or air squatting or back squatting or whatever it happens to be, you want to have midline stability. You want to understand how to brace your midline so that you can maximally exert some force, be it on the deadlift, the back squat, whatever it happens to be. And the weight belt is just a tool which many people, when they learn how to use it, assists them in ensuring that they are creating that tension in their midline, that they are bracing properly, and then that assists with midline stabilization, which then helps them with their deadlift, their back squat, etc., etc. So certainly good to go, certainly tools, certainly should know how to use them. They serve a great function. And kind of the same deal with knee sleeves. Some people just, putting on a little piece of neoprene over your knee isn't going to give your knee any magic protection, right? However, if you warm up, you put on some knee sleeves, and that little bit of tension right there not only helps you mentally and physically, but helps you between the ears be more cued and turned on as to what position are your knees in, what are you doing with them through any particular range of motion, so that you're paying more attention to how you're moving and lifting. That in and of itself has tremendous benefit, on top of the fact that it does help some people keep their knees a bit warmer, feel a little bit better, and even that little bit of tension that the neoprene provides can help some folks squat with a little bit less pain. That in and of itself, again, has positive benefits, but none of the pieces of gear will help you if you don't know how to move your body, if you don't know how to use them, and if you're not paying attention to the mechanics and the techniques while you're actually moving, and you haven't spent time developing those fundamentals first. So they're tools, they're wonderful tools. Just make sure that you are familiar with how they should be used. So once again, dive into Linchpin Conversations 137, and we chatted a bit more in depth about that. All right, we'll end with two shout-outs from screenshots that I took on the Private Track Facebook group here. First one is from Teresa E. Basically, she got her first toes to bar, and she's stoked. So she says, got my first toes to bar on Friday night. We follow Linchpin programming at my friend's home gym. She's been doing CrossFit for a number of years now, and I just started in October. She gave the Open a try this year. Saw toes to bar, chest to bar, and bar muscle-ups. Automatically thought that I would scale it, but my friends had other ideas. Long story short, at the end of it, she attempted some toe to bar, got her first one, then went ahead and got 3 more. Kind words. Appreciate the Linchpin programming, etc., etc. Next goal is a chin to bar pull-up. Very cool. I love celebrating things like this because if you've been doing CrossFit for a while, you might forget how huge of a deal some of these achievements are. First toes to bar, for a lot of people, is an incredible milestone. First double under, first box jump, first pull-up. All those firsts are they are the reward for all the hard work that you've been doing. So Teresa, congrats. All right, last one is from Adam D. I entitled this one, 2 Years with Linchpin. What a cool anniversary. It says, all right, friends, next week will be 2 years that I've been following CrossFit Linchpin. It's been a crazy 2 years. New job, second baby, new house, and, well, this whole pandemic thing. My goodness, right? That's been a heck of a 2 years. Thank you for helping me embrace scaling and putting aside my ego. Thanks to the amazing community for providing motivation on a daily basis. And the last 12 months have been way more consistent. I'm so happy with the results, and they are paying off. And then he gives some workout times from a workout that we've done multiple times, which is a 5-rounder of burpees and kettlebell swings. And first time he did it was April 2019, scaled. So not prescribed, it's usually with a heavy bell. Did it scaled in 606. Then in December, he just tried it RX with a heavy bell and went from a 606 to a 954, right? So that heavy bell definitely slowed him down. Then, in March 2021, prescribed 6 minutes and 53 seconds. So he took his prescribed time down from 9 minutes and 54 seconds to 6 minutes and 53 seconds. Shaved 3 minutes off that. 2 years of consistency, hard work. Congratulations, Adam. Thanks for being around. Thanks for the support. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Sorry we couldn't do this yesterday on Thursday. Appreciate everybody making it happen on a Friday. We got a nice little workout cooking up for tomorrow. Hope you enjoy that. And have a great weekend.